Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. In this program today, we will talk about indications of thaw in India-Pakistan relations. In a major development, the Pakistan government today decided to resume trade with India, which it had suspended after the Balakot air strike in February 2019. This comes after a number of significant developments over the last 1 month or so, like agreement on adherence to the border ceasefire of 2003. So are India-Pakistan relations moving towards normalization? We will analyze this in the agenda today. We have with us retired diplomat Ambassador Ashok Sajanhar, retired Major General Ashwani Sivach, and from Pakistan we are joined by political analyst Tamsil Ahmed. But before we start our conversation, have a look at this small report.
Pakistan government today decided to import cotton and sugar from India, ending a 2-year self-imposed bar on bilateral trade. Pakistan's newly appointed finance minister, Ahmad Azhar, announced at a press conference in Islamabad that cotton import from India will start by the end of June this year. He said the decision has been taken in view of high demand for cotton since Pakistan's textile export had increased while the domestic cotton crop last year was not good. Azhar added that the Pakistan government had also decided to allow the country's private sector to import 500,000 tons of white sugar from India. The minister said sugar trade was being reopened with India this year because the prices of the commodity in India are much less as compared to that of Pakistan. Government estimated a difference of 15 to 20% in sugar prices in India as compared to Pakistan. This major decision comes after a number of such significant announcements and developments over a period of last 1 month, which suggested easing of tensions between the two countries. First was the agreement on February 24 between the militaries of the two countries to strictly adhere to the 2003 border ceasefire agreement. It was coupled by the peace talk by Pakistan's all-powerful Army Chief General Qamar Bajwa and Prime Minister Imran Khan. Subsequently, Prime Minister Narendra Modi sent a letter of greeting to his counterpart on Pakistan's National Day on March 23, reiterating desire for peaceful relations. Khan replied to the letter saying Pakistan also wants peace, even as he put the rider of the resolution of Kashmir issue. Given these developments, it looks like efforts are underway between the two countries to move toward normalization of relation. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guests Ambassador Sajanhar, Major General Sivach and Tamsil Ahmed from Pakistan. Welcome to all of you to the agenda. Now let me first go to Ambassador Ashok Sajanhar about the latest decision by Pakistan government to resume trade, or rather import cotton and sugar from India. How do you see this development?
I think if two neighbors are trading normally, having normal relations with each other, I think this is something to be welcomed. But of course, I would hesitate very much to call it normalization of relation, because couple of things. This is really restoring the status quo ante as it existed before the 5th of August 2019, because I think that was the time when Pakistan decided to cut trade ties and also called back, it did not send its High Commissioner to India, and India also recalled its High Commissioner. So basically, we are going back to, let us say, 4th of August 2019. Now, that situation is also not a very happy one, because there is cross-firing that is taking place. There is so much of violations, cross-border shooting. There was all the terrorists that are being sent into India, terrorism is being supported, whether it is the bigger groups, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish Muhammad, all the others. Nothing has happened on 2611 terrorists, even as far as trade is concerned, since Ajay, you mentioned about trade. Well, Pakistan is not giving the most favored nation treatment to India.
Right.
And that stopped in 71. After that, it has not come back. India had resumed that, but then in the wake of the Uri attack, India also withdrew the most favored nation treatment. And definitely, it is to the benefit and to the advantage of Pakistan to have more MFN relations with India. So, my initial point would be, of course, it is welcome. There are a number of moves that Pakistan has made after 24th, 25th of February, when the agreement between DGMOs was signed about reverting back to the 2003 agreement on ceasefire across the border, IB, and the line of control.
Right.
But after that, there have been some noises, some comments. But I think basically the reason for this, and I'll finish here, is the reason for this, Ajay, is because Pakistan really finds itself in a corner. It had said that, it's going to rig up this case of Kashmir all around the world, this, that, the other. Nothing has succeeded. It went to UN Human Rights Council. Imran Khan went to the General Assembly. Nothing. No one took up this case. They just pushed it aside to try to rake it up with the Middle East, with the Gulf and all. There also, it did not get any traction whatsoever. And its economy is not doing well at all. Its economy is in dire straits. FATF is breathing down its neck. So I think there are huge problems that Pakistan is facing.
Yeah.
And it is because of that reason that it is gone into this tactical step of having both the ceasefire as well as resumption of cotton and going forward also.
Right.
Okay.
So I'll go to Major General Sivaj. As you heard, Ambassador, about saying that it cannot be normalization but status quo ante. But as we heard General Bajwa recently saying that we should bury the past and move on. So is India kind of burying the past and moving on?
See, Ajay, India is very well prepared. India wants peace with Pakistan. But the onus lies on Pakistan to maintain an environment in which peace can prevail. The biggest problem between India and Pakistan is basically terrorism, which is aided and abetted by Pakistan, and they are trying to stand in our Jammu. If they stop that, then there's nothing left. India will like to maintain good relations. The test of the pudding and eating.
Right.
As on today, there are about 400 to 500 terrorists still sitting in a launch pad. Their training area is still active. There are 14 of them. Now, as the snow will melt in the passes and the summer and will come in, what will happen to those terrorists? Will Pakistan stop sending terrorists to J&K? Will they forget about Kashmir? If they do, of course, India will like to maintain very good relations. India is very well prepared. We want to respond to all the positive inputs which are coming from Pakistan with positivity. But to make it look like all these been happening due to 3-4 pressures which have been applied on Pakistan. One was the financial condition of Pakistan was extremely bad. They were in $115 billion debt. No friend was there. No one was ready to give them a loan. Neither IMF, Asia Development Bank, European Union. And at the same time, Financial Action Task Force was, thinking of placing them from grey to blacklist in June this year. In this, there are tremendous pressure to show some result that they are not aiding and abetting terrorism.
Yeah.
Second thing is that they cannot sustain for long to maintain a hostility with India on the line of control, because we economically can sustain the type of weapon and ammunition and the expenditure which is required. Pakistan for a long run cannot sustain it. That was another thing. Third thing is the Joe Biden administration coming, the whole environment was changing. Pakistan wanted to show that they are really messiah of peace. They want to maintain good relations, and also to some extent China has put pressure. So overall, this is the cumulative pressure which has come on Pakistan to change the track.
Yeah.
As far as India is concerned, we are open-minded. We will like to go and have a good relation with Pakistan, because if we have a good relation with Pakistan, it's a win-win situation.
Yes.
You know, the ambassadors must go back to each other country. Then, diplomatic level, they should go back at the level which they were there before August 2019. Second thing is, we will like to have a trade. Remember, trade-wise, if we export cotton or sugar, my point is Pakistan stand to gain, because it is been importing these two things from different countries on a very, very high cost. Both the countries are stationed at very close to each other, so the transportation cost will come down. So India is very well prepared to maintain good relations, provided Pakistan maintain this, whatever they are promising. What they say and what they do, we have to see that, but we are well prepared for all the positive signals which are coming from Pakistan side.
Yeah, so let us hear from political analyst from Pakistan. Tamsil Ahmed has joined us, he is there with us. So Tamsil, as you heard that India wants good relations, and as we see, Pakistan Prime Minister also said that we want good relations. But then it all comes down to whether conducive atmosphere is created for that. Now we welcome this development of the Pakistan government of a decision to import cotton and sugar. It will help Pakistan also. So what do you say, Tamsil?
Thank you very much. And from my side, there is also about 21 words on the panel right now. I hope I'm audible, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, you are right. We can hear you. Carry on.
Okay. For me, this decision actually I take it in two ways. The first way, as a human being, as a Pakistani, and as a living being of the subcontinent, I welcome this decision, because I'm an advocate of the peace between these two countries. For me, the neighbors, they should not be in the fight mode all the way long. Unfortunately, whether it was the recent past or for the long past, we have been indulged in something which was starting from the blame game, and eventually we were taking some steps that later on we had to, come back from that. Same as it is, we had some very tough decisions in August 2019. Before that, we should not forget that in the same year, in February, if I'm not wrong, India took a decision and they delisted Pakistan from the most favorite nation. That is from there how the things started rumbling up, and the things starting, things were getting wrong in the wrong way. Then there was a very aggressive stance from the Pakistan side also. Definitely it was a very common reaction, because the government has to take it, and because we have some political implications also. But eventually, after 2 years, the things are going in a positive way. But we have to think on that aspect also, that when we take such aggressive decisions, and later on, after passing some time, we take a U-turn, we reverse the decision. That period that we had lost in aggression with each other, our nations were fighting front to front with each other, that lost, who will be responsible for that? We have to identify, even if it is our think tanks or somebody else, we have to make them accountable also.
Yes.
Whether such decision in the future will again come, that somebody will take an aggressive step, we will lose our 2, 3 years or 4 years, and after that we will reverse again. Nobody will question it. When this decision was taken up, why you have to reverse it now?
But Tamsil, as you understand that terrorism is a basic problem, I mean, that India is facing, I mean, which emanates from Pakistan. And as you talked about the decisions were taken in 2019. I mean, India was forced to take those decisions after the dastardly attack on CRPF convoy terror attack in Pulwama. You know how the soldiers were killed. India was compelled to take those decisions. So again, the India-Pakistan, I mean, relations are prone to accidents. Such accidents, suppose now terrorists carry out another attack, again the relations will be derailed. So there is a need to contain these terrorists, isn't it, Tamsil?
Again, my point of view is, see, India took a decision in response to the Pulwama attack.
Yeah.
Pakistani government took a decision in response to the aggression, whatever you call it, in the Indian occupied Kashmir. Okay.
No, it was
We have
issued.
a different,
Jaish-e-Mohammed.
we have a different approach. We have a different approach towards Kashmir. Both the governments took the decision on some specific incidents. So let us see if India made Pakistan to accept that Pulwama was happened because of them. Is it done? Or Pakistan has or India has agreed upon the Kashmir? If not, if the answer is no for both the events, then why will they sit these 24 months, 26 months, or 48 months? My question is that.
Okay, I'll go to Ambassador Sajanhar. As you heard Tamsil, that time is lost because of these, but as I mentioned that India was forced to take such decision. What do you say on that?
Actually, I was not really able to hear much of what Mr. Tamsil Ahmed was saying. But if this is the point,
He was basically saying that 24 months were lost in all this because of relations were deteriorated and all that.
We've lost the period from 1989 because terrorism has been imposed from Pakistan. If Pakistan is not supporting terrorism, as General Siwaj has said, the fundamental issue, of course, Pakistan will keep on saying that, Kashmir is the issue, etc. Kashmir, the only, as, Indian Parliament has also mentioned, that whole of Jammu and Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan, POK, that is all an integral part of India. So the only question that remains now is how Gilgit-Baltistan and POK can be integrated with India. That is the only Kashmir question. There is no other Kashmir question. The real question as far as the bilateral relations are concerned is the terrorism that emanates from Pakistan. And is the Pakistan willing to do anything about it? And if it is not willing, 26/11 also happened, and we said we will take action. We had the Parliament attack in December of 2000, just after 9/11, and there also we stationed our troops all around on our borders. Nothing was done. So I think it is realized by India, by the Indian government, that this will continue, and again it will be off and on again. Like you first have talks, then a terror attack, as you said yourself, Ajay, and then again after some time talks will start again. So I think this government started right from 2016 when the Pathankot attack took place. After that we had the Uri attack.
Yeah.
That terror and talks cannot go together. And if there is a terror attack, the price that Pakistan will have to pay, the cost that it will have to pay will be quite high. And this was done as far as the Uri attack, the surgical strikes were concerned, and after Pulwama, the Balakot.
Yeah.
We have not had any such attack. What Pakistan was trying to say all along was that we also have nuclear weapons. We have not got the nuclear weapons to decorate them in museums. We are going to use them. I think this bluff has been called off because if Pakistan wants to use, it knows very well. I don't want to make any irresponsible statements on your channel.
Yeah.
It knows very well that it is going to be obliterated from the face of the earth. So I think these are empty threats, and it is better if it behaves like a responsible nuclear power and don't make such irresponsible threats.
Right. These are blackmail tactics by Pakistan. So I'll go to General Siwaj about terrorism, as we talked about, as you also mentioned. And we see Army Chief only yesterday said that terror camps are still intact, although border ceasefire is in place for over a month now. But terror camps are still alive, and we had to watch out after the snow melts on the peaks and mountains. So we had to see the situation. So it's still an open game. I mean, it's not that we can't take it for guarantee that everything is now hunky dory.
Absolutely correct, Ajay. Very rightly you appreciated. See, whatever they are doing, Pakistan Army as well as Pakistan government, they are under tremendous pressure. It is not change of heart. No, in the own admission of Imran Khan, there are 30 to 40,000 terrorists which are there in Pakistan. What action they have done? What action have they done on the mastermind of 26/11? That is, Lashkar-e-Toba, Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists are roaming freely. out of 100 international global terrorists, almost 70% are living in Pakistan. So the infrastructure of the terrorism is still intact in Pakistan. They have not taken any action.
Right.
And very rightly, the Chief of Army Staff is saying there are 17 training camps where the camps are totally full. The terrorists have been already trained and waiting for the next move. And all the launch pads which are very close to the line of control, almost 2-3 kilometers, there are 400 to 500 terrorists sitting to get inside India on an appropriate opportunity. So the whole thing will now depend as and when the snow will melt. What will be the attitude of the Pakistan and Pakistan army?
Right.
We have no choice but to respond. If this terrorists will try to infiltrate in India, we have no choice but to make sure that they are eliminated on line of control itself. Because our counter-infiltration grid is very stable, very strong, and it is very punitive. And you will then find in case Pakistan army posts are aiding and the infiltration, by giving a covering fire, we will give a punitive action to these posts.
Right.
So all depend what will be the outcome and how will the Pakistan army and Pakistan ISI behave.
Right.
We want to maintain good relation. But are Pakistan prepared? Are Pakistan sincere to do that? Why are they not taking action against the terrorists which are moving freely in Pakistan? What about Hafiz Saeed, Masood Azhar? No action has been taken. So it is all a eyewash. It is just to please the international community for some time. As the summer will come, they will again start sending terrorists. Until the cross-border terrorism does not stop, until unless they do not dismantle the terrorism infrastructure in Pakistan, nothing much can happen between India and Pakistan. India wants to maintain good relations. Remember, time and again they are talking about Kashmir. What is left in Kashmir? It is the question of Pakistan occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, which is a legally part of India when it comes back. That is what all is left, nothing else.
Okay.
The point today is Pakistan must realize that they are on a financial crisis. If they will keep on doing what they are doing, they will break financially. They will not able to repay the loan of $115 billion. Their inflation rate is more than 25%. Their strategic reserve has dipped down to less than $10 billion, less than about Afghanistan. They can't live after 1 month of the import. In this thing, why do they want to, have this terrorism as a state instrument? They
Right.
must stop this, and then only the peace can prevail between India and Pakistan.
So maybe I can have view from Tamsil. Tamsil, as you heard General Siwaj about the terrorist commanders, I mean Hafiz Saeed, Masood Azhar, who have been sanctioned by the UNSC, no less than that. But they still continue to roam freely and enjoy all the hospitality of the Pakistan army and establishment. So that is, I mean, they are the culprits of Mumbai attacks and so many other attacks. So that is a nagging point for India, isn't it? So what has Pakistan government done to punish them? Tamsil?
Well, Mr. Rajiv, as far as the terrorism is concerned, let me clearly, the Pakistan is the one who has suffered a lot because of this terrorism. And for me, it's a blame game. From the both sides, it's going to be a blame game. If we have to decide it today, whether we want to settle down the issues between two countries.
No, Tamsil, sorry if I may interrupt you. Tamsil, if I may interrupt you, what is blame game? Is Masood Azhar, has he been sanctioned by the UNSC? Is Hafiz Saeed sanctioned by the UNSC? Just hold on, let's hold on. And is...
Let me clarify.
So have they been punished for Mumbai attacks?
For me, this is what again I'm saying. For me, I'm the one who has suffered a lot because of this terrorism. Not only my security personnel, but the normal Pakistani has lost their lives because of this terrorism. And when somebody wants to question me what I have done, I would like and I would invite them to come over here and I will show them the area which were actually suffered because of the terrorism, how we have cleaned them. So that is what again I'm saying.
No, as far as
we have to,
Tamsil,
have to stay, yes.
Okay, can I interrupt you? I know Pakistan also suffers terrorism, but that is Tehreek-e-Taliban terrorism. That is different terrorism. We are talking about here terrorism which is emanates from Pakistan and hurts
Mr.
India.
Ajay, terrorism
Lashkar-e-Taiba,
is
Jaish-e-Mohammed.
Terrorism is
Yeah.
terrorism.
Yeah.
That is not related to ISIS, that is not related to Taliban, that is not related to Muslims, that is not related to Christianity. Terrorism is a terrorism. Whoever is doing whatever the brand he is using. We should not see if, okay, for the time, if we both agree that the terrorism is the issue that is making a conflict or that is making a rift between India and Pakistan, then how we have to come out of that? It's still the blame game is going on. See, from our side, there were many welcome notes coming to your side since 1 month and 15 days. Whether we are ready to accept that, whether we are ready to sit and finalize the issues, or we still want to engage ourselves in the same game.
Okay, we have
The
to.
games which you are talking about, the games which you are talking about, internally we have done a lot against them.
Okay, we have to conclude. So,
They were put behind the bars. The sanctions are full on them. How you can say that we are not, we are trying to, we are not working against the terrorism?
Okay, we have to conclude. So, I want brief comments from Ambassador Sajanhar and General Siwaj. First, Ambassador Sajanhar, about what you heard Tamsil saying that they have acted against the culprits. Do you agree with that? And it's only blame game. What do you say?
No, it's definitely not blame game, because again, I couldn't hear what Mr. Tamsil Ahmad was saying very properly. But the only comment that I would make is that whatever is happening in the neighborhood of Pakistan, whether in India or Afghanistan or even they're fomenting terrorist activities in Bangladesh, it is all emanating from Pakistan. What is happening within Pakistan is also as a result of the support that Pakistan provides to terrorist forces. Sometimes the terrorist forces go out of control, and that is why you have this Peshawar
School attack,
firing, shooting, 140 children, and all the others. So basically, if you stop abating terrorism, it will be better for you domestically as well as for your international image.
Right.
It is not a blame game. I think Pakistan will keep on saying, do you have even a single Indian terrorist on the UN Security Council list? No, because India doesn't support. It's only Pakistan says that India supports terrorism. The world does not believe you, Mr. Tamsil Ahmad, and it is the earlier you realize and recognize, the better it is for you as well as for your neighbors.
Right. So, General Siwaj, I want to hear your last comments before we conclude.
Absolutely. Ajay, see, as far as Pakistan is concerned, they must realize one thing. If they keep on denying that they are not supporting terrorism, this is not going to achieve anything. Remember that maximum UN Security Council declared global terrorists are staying in Pakistan. And Pakistan is declared as a grey state by the Financial Action Task Force, not by India. So the whole world knows any action taking place as far as the terrorism concerned, you find roots in Pakistan. So Pakistan must be serious in aiding and abating terrorism, and now in case they want to take action against it, they are finding it difficult. They are supporting Haqqani group and Taliban in Afghanistan, and they are supporting Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed coming toward India. If they are very serious to dismantle this infrastructure of terrorism, first let them take action against the terrorist group, both which are operating toward India and Afghanistan. Automatically you find Tehreek-e-Taliban, Pakistan will also want out. They are victim of their own medicine. Terrorism created by them is hurting them today. Right. Why don't they realize? They have put the neighbor house on fire. Today right. Their own house is on fire. So therefore they keep on blaming others. But they are not realizing if Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan is created by no other than Pakistan itself. Yeah. So today they are getting hurt. Right. My point is, if they are serious to fight against terrorism, please remove this infrastructure which is there in Pakistan. Stop aiding and abetting the terrorists. Wind up and take action against global terrorists like Lashkar-e-Taiba, Masood Azhar and Dawood Ibrahim.
Yes. So Pakistan must come out of this denial mode basically and act against terrorists who are hurting the whole region basically. And otherwise these trade relations and other relations normalization is very welcome and good development, but I don't know how long it will last. But thank you all of you for participating in this debate today.
Thank you.
This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I will be back with another important topic tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.